And with that, we are live into the draft. This is I think it's week 5 already in season 2 of Chair League. We've got a thrilling contest between LiT eSports on the side of blue and Shoulder Shrug, weird, unpronounceable nonsense machine on the side of on the red side. And they open up with some bans on Leeming and Kelthos, and snapping up Tracer real quick on LiT eSports. Let me kill this. You can feel free to place in your own music. I'm not here to dictate what sort of tunes you listen to. That is entirely up to you. But we got Tracer. Certainly a strong pick. If you want to focus down a hero in the back line, there's a lot of potential there. And as an added bonus, a lot of players haven't figured out how to deal with Tracer yet. I won't pretend that I'm super good at this game, and Tracer still terrifies the pee out of me. So that's certainly a lot of reasons why you'd first pick Tracer, especially on this. We can mow down chests in no time at all. Blackheart's Baby in the map. Meanwhile, Shoulder Shrug responds with a pick from Falstad. A strong pick on most maps, especially ones that can require a lot of mobility. And as far apart as top and mid are from bottom lanes, that mobility might come in handy here. Being able to translate down to bottom to help Zagara, who I suspect might set up shop down there. There's certainly a strong case for that. There's a lot of good places for creep to get some vision. There's a chest that can spawn nearby. It looks like Sylvanas is going to be opposing her. A strong laner in her own right, and if I'm not mistaken, been adjusted recently to start doing a lot more damage in team fights. I'm not sure if that's true because of a patch or just my perception on opposing team selection. Sylvanas killing us over and over, but either way, there you have it. So both teams prioritizing lane presence and damage real early, and now we're getting to the beefy guys. LiT eSports picking up Muradin. It's not really nothing real negative about Muradin. He's not like he's just super solid. It's really hard to go wrong with him. He's probably not gonna make any plays of the game, but he's gonna represent very well up front. Meanwhile, denying the pick to LiT eSports, they don't want to see them with a Tyrande, so Older Shrug's gonna take the Tyrande away. You know a hero combination's good enough when they start getting a nickname, and I've heard more Miranda from recent tournaments than I'd care to relay. And LiT eSports, with their tank in the bag, wants to take one away from Shoulder Shrug, and Johanna is removed from play. And so we'll see what they do here. They need to give some sort of assistance to Falstad to help him lane in the top and mid, at least while that stage of the game is going on. So we'll see who they decide is a good sidekick for the Griffin man, the Griffin dwarf. And they pick Sonya. Tons of damage output, a very strong frontliner, and I think every game I've played in Chair League on my team, we've seen her picked or banned, and for good reason. She's scary if you can't deal with her immediately, and so far there's not a whole lot of control on the side of LiT eSports, so she's going to be able to do a bunch of damage straight away. Although it'd be an interesting pairing to see, as long as Tracer can avoid the hooks and the spot damage that Sonya can produce, then she can just dance around the warrior queen all day long. And Shoulder Shrug not really sure what to follow it up with. They're eating deep into their time bank for their 4th pick. They've got a bunch of options open to them. They haven't committed to anything too hard. They've gotten just fairly generically good heroes. They don't require as deep support network, but they've certainly got some options, and they pick a very large Lily. I've never seen Lily picked on Top Drafter. I didn't realize how huge her face looks on this screen. But Lily will be their support of choice. Certainly reasonable if you're worried about a Tracer. Lots of responses to that, and Lily a almost can't go wrong support in her own right. So a good pick, and she's got that sweet shadow. What's it called? Shadow Paw. I think it's the Shadow Paw skin now. It's one of the best skins I've seen in Blizzard come out with in recent bits. LiT eSports picking up Uther as their support of choice, and I wouldn't be surprised them to follow this up with a high priority hero of points. They have some damage in the form of Sylvanas and Tracer, but not a whole lot. So I would expect them to pick up some sort of additional damage. Not quite sure. There's been a lot of options taken off the table. Can't grab Li Ming, can't grab Kael'thas, but there's still plenty of selection available. So we can see what they pick, and they decide to pick Raynor. Jim Raynor from the Caprilu sector. And that's going to be the name of the game for LiT eSports. It's all about range damage. Sylvanas, Tracer, Raynor just flinging arrows, shooting bullets, and trying to stay away from Sonya as best they can. It is kind of surprising they would go into Raynor into a Lili pick. Tracer and Raynor are probably the two heroes most affected by blind, which Lili can do readily and often. So that might be a big impact onto their damage, but we'll see how it goes. And Dahaka is going to be the final pick for Shoulder Shrug. So after the draft, I'm thinking it may come down to how effective Lili can be with her blinds. If that's going to be the case, then Shoulder Shrug may have the superior crowd control to hold on to this. But I've certainly been wrong before, so we'll load into the game, and I'll stop guessing at what will happen, and we'll find out what will happen.
Ready for action!
And we are loaded into Blackheart's Bay for some hot team-on-team chair league action. On the side of LiT eSports, down we have Red Veil on Raynor, Unknown Soul on Uther, Roses in Hell on Sylvanas, a Rolivia on Tracer, and a Kuma on Muradin. And on the side of Shoulder Shrug, we have Mist on Dahaka, Solian on Zagara, a Super Dave on Sonya, Sin on Falstad, and Kalaris on Lili. And we are off to the races. We'll see what each team decides to do as they set up for this initial set of encounters, and it looks like the Pain Train's coming to Zagara, who wisely decides to retreat to the safety on their own towers. A lot of damage coming from that Sylvanas building turn off on the side of LiT eSports. They managed to get a tower, and looks like they're satisfied with that before reinforcements come in. So an early building pickup for the side of LiT eSports. Let's see what they can do with that. Sylvanas just trying to gather as much experience as she can, pushed away by Zagar, and that might be the story for the rest of the lane down there. Meanwhile, LiT eSports doing that patented 4-man rotation we've seen time and time again. And there's that Tracer just gobbling up the chest coins before anybody knows what happens. They go to rotate vision. Meanwhile, it looks like the rest of the coins are going to go to the side of Shoulder Shrug. So 5 coins aside, no immediate turn-in incoming, I would suspect. Got a bit of a brawl up here in the top, some damage going to Sonya, but again, just fairly aggressive plays from both sides. Both teams looking to get that first takedown. It's not an enormous experience lead, but it's certainly some momentum. Tracer gets scooped up by Dahaka, but is able to blink, recall away, and stand her ground with just a sliver of health, saying, I'm from the world of Overwatch, I'm not scared of you. Looks like we're back to a bit more cautious laning. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Zagara handily winning bottom lane. That creep sped giving her a lot of vision onto where the chest is going to turn in, so she should be aware of any problems coming in. We got a bit of a sneaky play coming in from Uther and Raynor. They managed to scoop up some high value currency, and it looks like they're going to get away scot-free without getting punished for it. Meanwhile, this battle at the bottom going fiercely. Both warriors at such low health and just trying to maintain as much experience as they can. A lot of damage going on to Muradin. He's got Dwarf Toss, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Lightning comes down, Hammer, and Falstad's going to finish him off. And so that'll decide it. First takedown of the match does go to Shoulder Shrug. Picking up one of the hardest targets to take down in this early part of the game, Muradin. But when you got it, right? Dahaka burning his trait essence absorption thing. He's not gonna fall anytime soon. Meanwhile, we got a quick turn in from the side of LiT eSports, so they will get the first round of cannons. Try and even this up. Oh, and a nice gank onto the side of Zagara. Tracer and everybody coming down to deal her some damage. And it looks like Dahaka's going to scoop up those coins that were left. I thought LiT eSports could have tried to be greedy and scoop them up. They decided either they weren't aware of it or they didn't want to take the gamble. Meanwhile, there's Lili in her sweet Shadow Paw skin. So after the first round of turn-ins, the first pair of takedowns, it looks like LiT eSports is going to have the temporary experience lead, but Shoulder Shrug responding with a turn-in of their own. Are they going to get it? No. Tracer's going to interrupt, just be annoying, be irritating, and while it's just Tracer for the moment, it looks like, I don't know, Dahaka's not sure whether or not he's got the opportunity to turn in, but he realizes he doesn't and wisely retreats. Siege Giants active on the side of LiT eSports in the bottom lane. They're I don't suspect they're going to do a whole lot of damage to this bottom tower. There's Zagara there to take a lot of this away. There's other heroes that are going to be available too, but these coins might distract them, and Shoulder Shrug with excellent timing gets the turn in right as chest spawn. So they're going to take these bottoms and surrender the top. So they get the turn in and only have to trade one of the chests for it. Good pickup. Muradin going ham on Lili, but the tower's still up, and that's gonna discourage them enough to protect Little Mrs. Pandemonium. Zagara still continuing to apply pressure here in the bottom lane. It's slow and steady, but she's whittling down all those buildings one hit point at a time. Meanwhile, got a bit of engagement here in the middle. We've got our Jim Raynor trying to turn in a couple of coins. Roach is going to deny him that opportunity. Tracer coming to help pick off that one Roach. We've got a 4-on-2 here in the middle, but they're Dahaka and Zagara aren't really looking to get any takedowns or do any huge damage, just to delay this long enough to make this unfavorable for LiT eSports to turn in. Meanwhile, everybody says enough of this, goes ham on Zagara. She's gonna fall, and now the way should be clear unless Shrug wants to take an unfavorable engagement. And it looks like they're perfectly fine surrendering that turn in and taking a shot at going in against Muradin. He's going to manage to get away. LiT eSports have their level 10s and a turn in of their own. And so that experience lead's just going to widen a bit as this fort falls. Meanwhile, Taken Vision looking to apply some pressure at the top while they have the benefit of cannons. A lot of damage coming in against Dahaka. Burrow's going to maybe delay the inevitable. He pops his adaptation. He's trying desperately, and the cannons are going to finish him off. Scooping up a lot of coins for LiT eSports, but they're not done yet. A lot of damage coming in against Sonya. Tracer in hot pursuit, recalls to safety. That was an excellent series in getting engagements for LiT eSports. They had momentum from the turn in. They turned off that asset for the defense of the towers, turning it into a hindrance against Shoulder Shrug. It was a good engagement, and for their efforts, they're rewarded with a 2-building advantage and almost a full level lead. But they might have gotten a bit cocky here. Muradin looking to steal these coins. Falstad and Dahaka just looking to lock him down, and he's certainly going to fall from this. All that effort for those 2 coins just saved Shoulder Shrug the time and effort. So just like that, that full level lead advantage has been cut to half, but as an exchange, LiT eSports does get the top and bottom camp at the same time. It's very strong coordination from LiT eSports. Meanwhile, back at the bottom, as the camps are pushing from both sides, we've got the battle of the specialists continuing with maybe a slight edge in favor of Zagara. Meanwhile, not a whole lot of other action hanging out on the map. LiT eSports just now gets enough for a full turn in, and it looks like they're going to try to attempt that. They've got their 4 inbound with Muradin on the way. Nice wailing arrow from Sylvanas, putting out the slow. Lily's ultimate pop. Muradin's not in a position to deny it, but it doesn't matter. Dahaka's going to go down. Maw and Falstad trying to glue down 2 heroes. They will get Raynor. Muradin puts himself in harm's way. Divine Shield will keep him safe. Uther locks Zagara in place, and right now we've got a 4-on-3. All heroes very low health. -1, and the fight's not over yet. Tracer pursuing. She's going to recall to safety just in time. And so another strong fight from both teams. But it looks like that the advantage does go to LiT eSports. They have their level 13 talents, and I suspect a whole lot more after this round of cannon shots. Well, both teams licking their wounds, trying to establish more vision and presence on the map, taking camps on both sides. Nothing really else to do on the map other than boss if anybody feels particularly cheeky. We've got some posturing here, possibly an engagement, but no team in a great position to commit. Chests are up. Looks like Team Tracer's going to go to the top, and instead of going for the chest, Tracer's going ham on Falstad. It's going to recall to safety. A lot of damage coming out on Muradin. He's going to fall. And just like that, Shoulder Shrug's right back in it. They are on the warpath, looking to take out a bunch of damage. Wailing Arrow's going to discourage them, but not enough. And Tracer is just going to get taken out by Falstad. And so just like that, Shoulder Shrug gets a 2 for 0, gets a turn into their own. And all the while, Top Camp is quite a big wave, looking to do some damage to this. Rainer's gonna poke what he can. He's not really the best on his own for this. Back and forth, both teams. Soon as one team has control of the map, the other team comes up with a response to wrestle it away. Bit of engagement here in the bottom. Sylvanas looking to do what she can against these two taking her siege camp. She's gonna get there and help Muradin get a 2 for 0. They do surrender the camp for that, but that camp's gonna do exactly 0. And the pendulum swings the other way, back in favor of LiT eSports. They've got a high number of coins to their name. They've got map dominance for another 14 seconds. And they're taking this time to just safely turn in the coins they have. They know that it's not enough for a turn in, but it gets them close, and this way the penalty for dying isn't quite as bad. All 10 players back on the map, looking for posturing at the next team fight. Shoulder Shrug gets a little bit of eyes on Muradin, but he's gonna retreat. Shoulder Shrug not looking to extend into another engagement like the last time, but now they're going in on Muradin. Dahaka's LiT goes out as Muradin Dwarf tosses away, and looks like LiT eSports is in a full retreat. They've got the abilities at the ready, but they just don't like the positioning, and Shoulder Shrug is looking to do some damage of their own. So they'll say, you know what, you can have it, we'll get you next time. Meanwhile, everybody coming down against Tagara. We've got but an excellent response from Team Shoulder Shrug. I don't know if that was just straight up bait or if that was just wonderful timing on their part, but Tagara gets away free, and they had a good chance to get a pick there if LiT eSports decided to make a mistake. I like it. It was a really, really strong play. It doesn't look flashy, but the things that win HOTS games aren't necessarily big abilities with wonderful animations. They're the basics. Positioning, things you can learn from sports. The most powerful athletes aren't always the ones that win. It's often the ones with the best teamwork. Muradin being a boss as Shoulder Shrug starts rotating away from him to look to do some damage. Falstad looking to just deny that last turn in. LiT eSports 1 coin away. And right now it's 4-on-3. Falstad goes in ham for his last second. A nice Tracer ultimate on a Beyblade. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before, but there you have it. It's a hero's first. Confirmed. You can Tracer ultimate Banewings. Meanwhile, Dahaka just enveloped by the enemy team, and he goes down without much of a chance. And this is starting to run away from Shoulder Shrug. A 2 for 0 on the side of LiT eSports. A full level advantage. But one of the most critical metrics in this game is the health of a keep. Once a keep falls, you get those catapults, and then you've got to keep giving attention to it. And it looks like LiT eSports is going to have enough cannon shots to get one of those, but that's not all they're going to get.
That's enough. We don't be working for free.
LiT eSports scoops up boss, the whole team on Shoulder Shrug ready to respond to this, and if they commit everything to the defense here, which is certainly a reasonable play, then the boss shouldn't do a whole lot of damage. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. LiT eSports, being aware of this, is going to take this time to scoop up every single advantage they can find on the map. They're still several coins away from a turn-in, but that changes with every camp they take. And it's really going to change with these chests spawning. This is really unfortunate timing for Shoulder Shrug. They're not in a position to get either of these chests if LiT eSports really wanted to push the issue. But instead, they just get enough coins to get their turn in. They're just going to safely get Just what they need. Are they going to get it? No, they're going to interrupt Trace at the last minute. There's a 5v3 in the favor of Shoulder Shrug, and this is what they need to do. They need to get as much damage as they can here. Muradin on lockdown. Wailing Arrow comes out, but is not going to save him. It's a wonderful response from Shoulder Shrug. They stop the turn in. They looks like they do have enough for one of their own. They get a takedown. And all the while, the top chest is still up. There's still 5 coins right for the taking. And so this ain't over yet. We're gonna have the final fort fall on the side of LiT eSports. We're gonna start getting some cannon shots on that inner ring of buildings. And Shoulder Shrug's not out of this yet. There's still a level down. Level 20 talent's about to hit for LiT eSports. They're down a keep, but I mean, it just takes one solid team fight and you can railroad this straight to the core.
Well then, who's got the coin for me service?
Captain Blackheart is back alive and waiting for some currency. There's plenty of coins on the side of LiT eSports, and that's something Shoulder Shrug is going to have to be aware of. And it looks like they're going to be imminently aware of it right now, as both teams posture at the turn-in. No one trying to find out what's inside the bushes on the other team. And it looks like LiT eSports is going to go for it. Going to get their coins in the bank without much contestation from Shoulder Shrug. Not really. I guess they weren't feeling a fight at just a moment. Just looking to get the coins they needed for another turn into themselves. This round of cannon shots I don't think is going to get this keep, so no major buildings additional for the side of LiT eSports. But while I say that, they're making a big stab here at the bottom. Shoulder Shrug not in a great position to deal with this unless they hearth backwards, but they're not going to respond in time, and bottom keep will fall. Oh, but Falstad comes in behind him, tries to put him in a bad position. LiT eSports is flanked, but I don't think they seem to mind too much. A lot of damage going out against Shoulder Shrug, plenty of health on the side of LiT eSports. And this flank, which was an excellent idea. Oh no, Lily stunned out of the Cubs. Zagara's gonna fall. Sonya at critical health. She's gonna go down. And it's Falstad and Tahaka to mount the final defense for Shoulder Shrug, and I don't think they're gonna be able to pull it off. Falstad goes in on Tracer. Not gonna get it Divine Shield at the last minute. But I feel like all this is a moot point as they're doing lots of damage to the core. Total team wipe on Shoulder Shrug, and this map's gonna go to LiT eSports. And that was an incredibly back and forth game. Both teams solidly in the lead at multiple occasions throughout the match. Just when you thought Shoulder Shrug was out of it, they mount a 2 for none, they mount a 3 for none against LiT eSports, and suddenly they're right back in it. But it was that bottom push when they realized Shoulder Shrug was out of position. LiT eSports had vision on him and said, if you're going to be at top, fine, we're going to take your bottom building. And Shoulder Shrug had a good plan. They had the Falstad Gust ready to go to keep people from retreating, but at the end of the day, LiT eSports just had too much staying power, too much sustain between Muradin's traits, Uther's heals, and all the damage on the side of LiT eSports to just wipe out Shoulder Shrug in the final moments. So well played, both teams. It was an excellent match from LiT eSports and Shoulder Shrug, but there is only one W, and today that W goes to LiT eSports. So congratulations, and I'll see y'all in the Nexus. Take care.